Hey everybody, John Lorden here with another Brain Scratch Case Cracked. This one is for Tuesday, May 9th, 2017. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me here today. This case I like to call Tattoo Confessional. Let's jump right in. January 23rd, 2004, Pico Rivera, California. Kevin Lloyd is a sergeant for the Pico Rivera Sheriff's Station when he was dispatched to a homicide at Mr. Ed's liquor store. Christmas lights were still up. A light post with street signs separated the liquor store from the neighboring convalescent home across the street called the Rivera. 23-year-old John Juarez was dead from a gunshot wound to the head. His body had fallen in the driveway of the liquor store near a phone booth. John's 4-year-old daughter, his girlfriend, and numerous family members would never get to share time with him again. Investigators learned that Juarez was standing by the payphones outside the liquor store when two men walked up to him and asked him where he's from. A moment later, several shots were fired, and the men jumped into a pickup and took off. As with many shootings of this type, there's not a lot of evidence to collect and review. The suspects are there for such a short amount of time, and in some cases they can leave very little behind. This case eventually went cold. 4 years later, in 2008, a man named Anthony Garcia was pulled over by police. He had a suspended license, and the police thought he might be involved with the Rivera 13 gang. When taking his mugshot, police also snapped pictures of his tattoos. This is a common practice since taggers will sometimes get tattoos of their graffiti signatures, gang affiliations may be tattooed onto a person, and occasionally eyewitnesses will recall distinctive tattoos. Later that year, Kevin Lloyd was now a detective sergeant in the homicide division and a 30-year law enforcement veteran. He was reviewing photos of gang member tattoos for an unrelated case. He came across the pictures of Anthony Garcia's tattoos, and they reminded him of a case from several years before. The tattoo clearly showed a liquor store that jogged his memory. It looked just like Mr. Ed's liquor store, and there was more. The liquor store in the tattoo had its Christmas lights up. The same light post with the street signs, and even a sloppy depiction of the neighboring convalescent home, and above all of that imagery, bold text stating, "Rivera kills," likely referring to the Rivera 13 gang. The tattoos also showed a helicopter spraying bullets and striking a victim. Anthony Garcia's gang name is Chopper. The victim was depicted as Mr. Peanut, a commonly used symbol to depict members of rival gang Pico Nuevo. Detective Sergeant Lloyd pulled the file on the old case and drove back to the liquor store to review it all again. Lloyd believed that the tattoo was a very detailed crime scene sketch. Even the trajectory of the bullets matched the actual scene. The victim was laying in the same location, and Mr. Peanut had also been depicted as being shot in the head. Did Lloyd find a confession inked onto the culprit's own skin? If so, veteran detectives everywhere would say that this was a first and an extremely brazen act. Anthony had spent years perfecting the tattoo. In a 2005 booking photo, there was just the chopper spraying bullets at Mr. Peanut. In 2006, another booking photo shows that the liquor store had been added, and by the time he was booked in 2008, the image was more than enough to show that he at least had intimate knowledge of the crime. Authorities found Anthony Garcia living with relatives in La Habra. He was arrested and charged for the murder. While in prison, he bragged about the crime to another incarcerated gang member. That gang member actually turned out to be an undercover officer, and he was recording everything. The deputy DA called the tattoos a nonverbal confession and states that Garcia's arrogance got the better of him. Authorities have analyzed his other tattoos to see if they are also related to crimes, but they don't believe that they are. Robert Armijo was the getaway driver for Garcia on the night of the shooting. He pleaded guilty and testified against Garcia. He was later sentenced to 20 years in prison. At the trial in early 2011, Michelle Sotelo, the girlfriend of John Juarez and mother of his now 11-year-old daughter, took the stand and said that getting that tattoo was the stupidest thing Garcia did. Quote, "And for that I thank you, because without that stupid tattoo you wouldn't have been caught. I won't say I forgive you because I don't. It will take me a long, long time." Anthony Garcia was convicted of first-degree murder, and at his sentencing it was noted that he smirked and smiled while the Juarez family made statements about their loss. Judge Thomas McNew Jr. wasn't impressed. Quote, "It would appear from your attitude of non-remorse and your smirks, you have sociopathic tendencies. You are a serious, serious danger to society. I don't know what thought you've given to your future. You have no real future." He then sentenced Garcia to 65 years to life in prison, on top of ordering that Garcia pay $500 to the Victim Restitution Fund and over $3,000 for Juarez's funeral expenses. The victim's stepfather, Gilbert de la Rosa, called the tattoo, quote, "a very lousy attempt at art. It looks like a third grader did it." He says, however, that he has forgiven Garcia and prayed for him throughout the trial. Case cracked, right? Well, 1 week later, Sergeant Kevin Lloyd figured out another crime that Garcia was trying to commit. Using family and friends, he was trying to smuggle heroin and meth into the county jail. The family members included Anthony Garcia's brother and his mother, as well as 2 other acquaintances. Charges were filed against them all. However, I can't find any updates on the outcome of those cases, just that his mother was charged and then bailed out. I found some interesting detail about his brother putting the drugs into one of their friends in a very uncomfortable place, let's just say. And that friend was trying to get incarcerated at the same time and at the same jail as Anthony Garcia, and then supposedly was supposed to give him half the drugs, but someone tipped off the officers. They found the drugs in this man's body and removed them before he was put into the system. So very interesting turns in this case, and I can't believe that this guy got a tattoo. And I've looked into it a little bit more. It does seem like some people will get tattoos of different codes on their body to correspond with charges that they have done time for. Of course, everyone knows about teardrop tattoos that symbolize murdering someone. But it's pretty rare, and I really haven't seen another case where you have someone that is literally like depicting a crime scene on their body to the point of such detail that an officer that was working that crime scene was able to pick right up on it and catch his man. I think that is just, the odds of that are just amazing to me. So I'm very happy that the case came out this way. It's a tough situation because, it was a gang-related shooting. Obviously, they probably didn't know the other guy all that well, so that connectivity that you look for when they're investigating cases of, is this someone that he knew? Could we trace them through networks of friends? I think it gets a bit more tricky when you're talking about rival gang units that are interacting with each other in this way and trying to backtrace those connections to who could have been the person to kill someone like this. But in any case, the case did finally get solved, and it came down to a sergeant detective with a very keen eye and a really good memory. That's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Case Cracked. Once again, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll see you right back here on the Lord and Arts channel.